morning. Hair looking like it's going on strike. It's Sunday, and the noise has stopped. I want to put this video out, but I'm gonna multitask too because what you're hearing in the background is the washer. But shout out to those people that celebrated St. Patrick's Day yesterday. Yeah, he celebrated. To each his own. And I saw all these people yesterday, had the Irish flags out there and everything, especially here. And then while I was waiting to stop at my Jersey Mike's to grab a sub to go to work, and you could tell that people were loading up because, that's nothing but a legalized day to drink. It is. It is. And while I was in line, man, you gotta love these dreads, boy. They just looking like Coolio, don't they? All right, give me a second. Let me change this up real quick. We'll be right back. Because I don't want to talk and then you can't hear me. So give me a sec. So I'm going to do both. So I'm standing in line. And while I'm standing in line, you could tell that some people had a strategy to say, well, they're gonna eat, they're gonna put something in the system, but they're gonna power drink. And that's cool, as long as you do it responsibly. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And then something crossed my mind. Because my mind's always going. And what crossed my mind was the historical fact of St. Patrick's Day. Because what does St. Patrick's Day represent? Well, mythologically, represents this saint having the ability to drive out the snakes from Ireland. That's what we've all been taught, right? And I was like, okay, we've all been taught that, but how many of us have really looked at what it really means? Because there are allegory, twists and turns about that story. And some of it is done deliberately. But historically, we never really fact check. We just go off of the breadcrumbs of what was left, what was accepted, what was assumed. So as I'm waiting to place my order before I go into work, okay, something in me was screaming, if they only knew, would they still do the same thing? You're saying, what do you mean, Gerald? What are you referring to? Well, for those that know history, you know that for over, and I could be wrong, work with me, for 800 years, Europe was controlled, explored, ruled by the Moors. So, with that being said, St. Patrick and the story of driving out the snakes really used to say St. Patrick pushed out the black snake. And what was the black snake? What does the black snake represent? And it's right in front of your face. The St. Patrick was an intricate part of the proverbial changing of the guard and moving the control of the Moors out of Ireland. Just like William Wallace, because historically we were always there. So it made me think. I don't know why I have this glare on my camera, but bear with me. Okay. All right. Bear with me. I'm going to try to clean it up. There you go. So my question was, would people today still celebrate St. Patrick's Day if they knew that St. Patrick really was behind a lot of the genocide that took place to change the trajectory of control? Because the Moors, they ruled Europe. So when you hear about the story of him driving out the snakes of Ireland, the snake was the melanated people. But some of y'all know that. Some of y'all don't want to reveal that because you believe that history is exactly what it is. Or what is history? What is it? How does it have an impact to your life? I personally like to believe that history is a divine way that the Most High, the great I Am, the one of many names, bestows to mankind lessons that have taken place. And to do so, he lets events take place and be chronicalized so that we can gain insight and wisdom. But do we? Do we? Do we act like the Matrix and proverbially do like this when it doesn't suit us? Do we turn a blind eye when it doesn't fit our personal goals and direction? Or do we deflect when the truth is staring you dead in the face? Makes you wonder now, don't it? Because the evidence is scattered all over the world. That is why you have artifacts that look a certain way. Removal of noses and bone structures, because it's truth. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, because I thought it was kind of hypocritical, because I was like, well, if people really knew the truth, would they still celebrate it? You could say the same thing about Valentine's Day and what Valentine's Day really represents. But that's why history is meant to be chronicalized. However, what is needed most is critical thinking through it all. Because We all know that you can write down one sentence and someone may get something different from it. That is why there's so many arguments about doctrine. But there's so much commonality and similarity in how it's interpreted and disseminated to the masses. So let's look at us now in 2019. We as a people are so, and when I mean as a people, I'm talking about mankind. We are so fragmented. Some because they feel helpless. Some because they are tired. And they just want to make it through the next day. They don't want the drama. They just want to be in peace. Even though Thomas Jefferson once penned the pursuit of happiness. Isn't the pursuit of happiness is to be able to cultivate not only your lineage, but the ability to sow your seeds. But as you step out your door, that is being accosted, that is being threatened, even chastised to the point because of envy and downright fear. But yet we don't want to talk about it. We feel that instead of having an amicable discussion to learn something new, because nobody knows everything, but you must have the courage to sit at the table. Some would just prefer to hang out in the parking lot. And it's sad because what's at stake is the impact that will be felt by your children and your children's children. So that's too real, isn't it? It's too stark. The seeds you plant today is the harvest that you will reap tomorrow. And oh yes, some that like to take the persona or the position of being real are not real. They're winging it. They're proverbially taking the emotional piece of cheese and throwing it up on the wall, hoping that it will stick because it suits them. But all efforts that are done must be accounted for as well as measured. So, somebody asked me what my opinion was in this uptick of racial bias and downright the calamity of our society. Well, this doesn't surprise me. It doesn't. And I'll tell you why. Wasn't it written in the Bible that as the wheat is pulled from its sheaf, it will be the believer that will be most challenged, because at the end of the day, only a select few will be selected. And I believe that as things progress, and unfortunately they're going to get worse until we decide to have a united front. And what I mean by united front is collectively make a decision that this doesn't work. But see, right now, you're being distracted by your economics and your social measurement right now, aren't you? What's being ransomed is your insecurity. You said, what do you mean by insecurity, Gerald? I don't understand that. Think about it. You have no control what's found outside your door. But you do have the right and responsibility of how you step out into it. One is the ability to feel emotionally safe. Two is the ability to make sound decisions. Even the ones that you can't see. Even the ones that you just don't have concrete evidence on what the outcome may be. But you must endure. You know, I put a video out of, was it last week? And I entitled it, Pressure May Break the Pipe. Remember? And what did I say? What did I try to convey to you? Because all these are connections to what I had been conveying over a year ago. The ant and the grasshopper. See, right now the grasshopper thinks that it's harvest time. And right now, that grasshopper is enjoying the environment that it's in. But slowly but surely, the things that were considered liberties, the things that were considered pretty abundant, they're running out. There's a unseen scarcity that is playing out, because what will end up happening is the same energy put out is the same energy, the same exact energy that will be waiting. Now, I'm not saying that as a physical threat. I'm saying behavior is hereditary. Therefore, there must be an investment in time. That's why people are not born to be biased. They're not born to be aggressive. It's a systematic acclimation through time, through disappointment, through fear, and non-support. So let's take a deeper look. I remember when social media first took off. And I remember it started off as simple blogs on a screen. The ability to, the concept of video chatting and stuff like as you know it is passe now. Was still in the theory stage. Yes. And then out, lo and behold, there was MySpace. Then you had, well, correction, you had IRQ. But even then, there was an underlining scourge, so to speak, where people would use that as a way to vent, with the anonymity that no matter what they said, there was no repercussions. Fast forward 25 years. Now with IP address and the promotion of VPNs, there's still those people that believe there's no accountability for their actions. How wrong are they? So when you look on your timeline and you see things play out, unfortunately, worldwide, you do realize that's nothing but a ripple effect of what's being domestically done. In a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, that energy is still being put out, still being condoned, still being promoted, to the point that you can't even go to the store without looking over your shoulder because you're worried about someone recklessly trying to run you off the road or not paying attention to where they're headed. Do you remember there used to be a time where you didn't see so many car accidents, but every day there's always a wreck. There's always money going to be spent. So what's your point, Gerald? You're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to make a decision that you're going to have to look at your investments. And you're going to have to sit down and assess what's viable compared to what is a liability. How much is your peace of mind worth? And what are you willing to do to protect it? That is going to be the price. Now, yes, you could turn around and have the position of putting out the same energy that is disseminated. Or you could have a little forethought, and I don't want to say sidestep it, but be a little proactive not to be caught in it. Because it's still a proverbial fishnet. It still is. Now, let me turn the page a little bit, and let me ask you this. How many of you notice that your financial health is the exact illustration of your emotional being? Only you know this. Only you know your truth. Is your finances in a place that you have a little bit of comfort, or are you stressing, or are you in a position where you feel that every day is a challenge? You are check to check. You have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Only you know that. But if you be honest with yourself, you'll also see the domino effects of it. See, when this and this are in sync, you don't sweat the small stuff. You don't allow yourself to be you don't allow yourself to be distracted on things that have no merit. Just like another way of looking at it is when you make the decision on what is deemed priority, you notice the things that you do that's priority. Nothing stands in your way. You're committed to see it through. You make a way when there is no way. So why isn't your happiness on that same priority list? I know some of y'all may be thinking, well, Gerald, I hear what you're saying. You've been saying this for years. But at the end of the day, I'm worried about these lights going to be on tomorrow. I'm worried about the fact that my mailing address may change. Or internally, the people that live under the same roof that I do may not be here tomorrow. Well, guess what? If they're not contributing, they're the reason why you're feeling the crunch. And I say that out of love, family. I do. I say this out of love. It's not taking a position to be selfish to protect your interests. That's a responsibility that you must uphold because it's your life. That responsibility falls on your chest. But you'd be surprised how many people that look like you or don't secretly only want one thing, and that is to wake up with a clear head for a new day without distraction. And you know what? You deserve that. My dreads are like, raise your hand. So, as you go into this new week, take today, do some serious soul searching. You know, just like proverbially, it's supposed to be about spring cleaning, assessing what you need, letting go what you don't. It could be your possessions, such as clothes you don't wear no more, you're going to donate, or if you're going to sell them, whatever. But it's about being efficient. So why can't you spring clean your emotions? You realize there's somebody right now waking up with a new regret because of a decision they made 8 hours ago. How am I going to get through this? Why did I put myself in that position? Why did they not do what they said they were going to do? Why? You need to be grateful for that. You're saying, why? Well, because whatever that scenario was and how it played out, it was meant for you to see that. It was meant for you to see that. Because it's giving you an opportunity to make a choice. Free will. Remember that word? The right to choose. And when you decide to make that choice, unequivocally, no matter what, that clarity will come. You'll stop worrying about trivial things. You'll start not to have the focus on people that don't have the focus on you. And that might be right now. That might be even loved ones. You got loved ones that won't have the courage to tell you how they feel, which is unfortunate because you're entitled to know the truth. You're entitled to have that discussion. But the one thing that I've come to realize in my life, that some of the things that we fear the most are the things that are going to see us through. And it's also the things that keep us in place because we refuse to acknowledge it exists. Who am I talking to? You already know what you need to do. You've known this almost 8 months. But you keep on, I don't want to say proverbially turning the cheek, but you're optimistic. And that in itself is admirable. That's admirable. But guess what? They're using that as a vice. And guess what? They're using that as a tactic to keep you in place. You said, what do you mean, girl? You've invested all this time in this person, project, whatever. But yet, the outcome is still the same. Because that's the outcome. Notice it has not changed. And I can flip that as the truth too. Because if someone constantly tells you the same thing and there's no change in that, that's their position. That's their possession. That's their perception as of where they are at that moment. And unfortunately, we do not have the ability to change someone else. We don't. That's why manipulation is only temporary. You notice that? Have you noticed that someone will tell you one thing and they'll stick to it? But the more that you come back to that scenario, their emotions get a little harder. It's because you're starting to see the cracks in that, which means it probably was not true or authentic to begin with. So I'm going to bring this home. Now, more than ever, you're starting to see people that projected having thick skin. You're starting to see the cracks in that. You're starting to see what was, how can I say it, not authentic. Now, this doesn't give you a reason to condemn them. No, it doesn't. It does not. But it does give you an opportunity to make a decision to go another route. The truth will always set you free. But you must have the courage. Sorry. You must have the... Your truth is going to carry you longer than your friendships, your bonds, even if it's blood or bone. And it's okay. It's okay. Because what you need has always been there. You know why? Because it was blessed. It's blessed. Now, I don't want to be winded. I really don't. On this chilly, chipper morning. Remember that tree I told you about, the tree? Yeah. And surprisingly, what I thought was broken and how this beautiful tree still stands. Well, let me show you something. Because remember I pointed out, see that clean break? But look over there. It's not dead, family. It's redefined. Maybe this is the time that you're going to break off those old habits. Maybe, remember that I had the tree right here? Well, I cut that down. I cut that down yesterday. And for that, it's about change. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to see. Everything that you need, you will be supplied. Everything. You might be in a financial slump and you feel a certain kind of way. And you might feel frustrated because you think that nothing's going to get better. But you're wrong. Because your best days are coming. They're coming. But you notice as closer as you step to there's going to be a natural thinning out process. And the reason for that is a lot of it is the audience that you keep. And you'll come to see that as more as you start to invest in yourself, the more courage you'll have, the more commitment that's already there will be solidified. Because it's meant for you to have. It's meant. It is meant, family. But don't get caught up on these social narratives that are out here. What you're really witnessing is a social narrative for people to condone the process or the propaganda, the agenda. And I was talking to somebody at work and I said, whoever thought you would have so many, and I'm not saying this to attack people. But I got to use it as an example. I said, well, who would ever thought you would have all these trucks out here on the highway nowadays when everybody used to gravitate to, sedans, different type of cars, and, there was SUVs, but now everybody got to have a truck. And guess what? Eventually, I'm going to buy me a truck. But I also know that that's going to be a tool because as long as I'm in where I'm at, placement-wise, that's a tool. That's all it is, just like the cell phone. It's a tool. But you know what's going on? You're watching a lot of people socially use these effects to shore up their self-esteem. Got to have the biggest thing out there to make the biggest impact. But it doesn't measure how you feel inside. Somebody said, well, that's just to make up for what they lack, Gerald. They lacking. And you know what? You're right. They are lacking. And that's why they want your attention too. Just like a bull in the china shop. It's all about, it's pretty much just like a spoiled child. When the spoiled child doesn't have its way, what does it do? It has a tantrum, makes a fit, does bad behavior because they know that even with bad behavior, you're going to give it attention. So take today. Go within yourself and do that spring cleaning. It's okay to take a position to step back from somebody because it's about validating your worth. And if that person, situation does not yield the best you, you got to ask yourself, were they worth, or was it worth your investment to begin with? God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. The real question is, what's it going to take to put that beautiful smile back on your face? And when you figure that out, whatever that's going on inside here, you'll champion through it. Be blessed.